My best friend stood on stage smiling, while an entire room applauded him for my work. The promotion, the bonus, the recognition I had spent 2 years fighting for, he took all of it. And the worst part? He looked directly at me while accepting the award, like he was daring me to say something, so I smiled back. Because he had no idea that by the end of that night, everyone in the company would know exactly who he really was. And trust me, watching his perfect image collapse in front of hundreds of people was worth every second of betrayal. My name's Ethan. I'm 29, and until last year I thought loyalty actually meant something, especially between best friends. I met Ryan during our first week at Westline Media, a fast-growing marketing company in Chicago. We were both broke, overworked, and desperate to prove ourselves. The kind of friendship that forms when two people survive chaos together. Late nights at the office, cheap takeout dinners, complaining about terrible clients at 2 in the morning. Ryan was charismatic in a way I never was. People naturally liked him. Meanwhile, I was the quiet guy who stayed behind fixing campaigns after everyone went home. We balanced each other out. At least that's what I believed. Over the years, we became inseparable. He came to my apartment every Sunday to watch football. I helped him move twice. When his girlfriend left him, I stayed awake until 4 in the morning, talking him through it. And when my dad died unexpectedly, Ryan was the first person at the funeral. That's why what he did destroyed me. Not because of the money, not because of the promotion, but because betrayal hits differently when it comes from someone you trusted. Like family. Everything changed when Westline landed the biggest client in company history. A massive sportswear brand preparing for a national campaign. Winning that account could change careers overnight. Our boss, Linda, assigned Ryan and me to lead the project together. At first, things were normal. I handled strategy and analytics. Ryan handled presentations and client communication. Typical division. But slowly, I started noticing something. Whenever we had meetings, Ryan would repeat my ideas almost word for word, except he'd phrase them like they were his own thoughts. At first, I ignored it. Friends do that sometimes, right? Then one afternoon, I walked into a conference room early and heard Ryan talking to Linda. "She's loving the engagement strategy I created," he said confidently. Created? My stomach dropped, because I had spent 3 straight weekends building that strategy. Ryan barely even looked at the data. I stood outside the room frozen, waiting for him to correct himself. He never did. Instead, Linda said something that made my chest tighten. "I knew you were leadership material, Ryan." Leadership material. Not us. Him. That night, I confronted him. At first, he laughed. "Bro, relax," he said. "We're a team." "A team?" I snapped. "You literally told Linda you created my strategy." Ryan rolled his eyes. "You're overthinking this." "No, I'm paying attention." That's when his expression changed. Just for a second. Cold. Calculating. Then he smiled again. "Listen, when this project succeeds, we both win." I wanted to believe him. So stupidly, I did. Over the next 2 months, I practically lived in the office. I built campaign projections, market analysis, consumer behavior reports, everything. Ryan? He focused on networking, taking executives out for drinks, laughing at the boss's jokes, building relationships, and honestly, I didn't care, because I thought talent would speak for itself. Then came presentation day, the biggest meeting of our careers. Senior executives, major investors, even the company's CEO attended. I arrived early, carrying 3 months of work on my laptop. Ryan showed up 20 minutes late, wearing a perfect tailored suit and acting unusually confident. That should have been my warning. The presentation started. Ryan stood at the front of the room while I controlled the slides. And then, it happened. This entire campaign was built around a strategy I developed after studying customer engagement trends, Ryan said. I stared at him, my heart pounding. No mention of me, Not once. Slide after slide. My words, my research, my ideas, all coming out of his mouth, like I didn't exist. I kept waiting for him to acknowledge my contribution. He never did. And the executives loved him. People nodded, smiled, took notes. By the end, the CEO literally stood up and shook Ryan's hand. "Incredible work," he said. Then he glanced at me and added, "And good support from your team." Support. I felt sick. That night, Ryan got promoted to Senior Creative Director, a position both of us had wanted for years. Everyone celebrated him. Champagne, photos, congratulations everywhere, and through all of it, Ryan avoided looking at me. Because deep down, he knew exactly what he'd done. I barely slept for days. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him standing on that stage, smiling, while people applauded stolen work. The worst part wasn't losing the promotion. It was realizing our entire friendship suddenly felt fake. How long had he been using me? How many ideas had he quietly taken credit for before I noticed? Then something happened that changed everything. 3 days after Ryan's promotion, Linda accidentally forwarded me an internal email chain, and there it was. Proof. Ryan had been intentionally removing my name from project documents before submitting them to executives. Multiple times, for months. My hands literally shook reading it. One message from Ryan said, "Ethan's great with technical work, but clients connect better with me as the face of the projects." The face, that's all I was to him. A tool behind the curtain. At that moment, something inside me snapped. Not emotionally, calmly, dangerously calm. Because I finally understood something. Ryan didn't think I'd fight back. Quiet people get underestimated all the time. And arrogant people usually destroy themselves when they think they've already won. So I started planning. A week later, Westline hosted its annual company gala. Over 300 employees attended, executives, partners, clients, and Ryan, he was the star of the night. Near the end of the event, Linda announced a surprise segment recognizing Ryan's groundbreaking campaign leadership. The room erupted in applause. Ryan walked toward the stage, grinning like a celebrity. Then Linda said something unexpected. Before Ryan speaks, Ethan actually requested to say a few words about the project. Ryan's smile disappeared. Instantly. See, earlier that day, I'd emailed Linda saying I wanted to publicly thank Ryan for our partnership. She loved the idea. I walked onto the stage, holding a wireless microphone. Ryan stood beside me, stiff as stone. I smiled warmly. I just wanted to say how inspiring Ryan has been during this campaign. People nodded. Ryan relaxed slightly. Then I continued. In fact, I thought everyone deserved to see exactly how much work he put into it. That's when the projector behind us changed, and Ryan's face lost all color. Because suddenly, every original document appeared on the massive screen. Timestamps, draft histories, analytics files. Every single file clearly showed my name, not his. The room went silent. You could literally hear silverware clinking in the distance. Ryan stepped toward me, whispering aggressively, "What the hell are you doing?" I ignored him. Then I displayed the emails, including the forwarded chain where he admitted removing my name intentionally. Gasps spread across the ballroom. One executive actually muttered, "Jesus Christ." Ryan tried grabbing the microphone. "Ethan, this isn't what it looks like." I finally looked directly at him. "For 2 years," I said calmly, "I defended you like a brother. The entire room stared at us. And you stole from me because you thought I'd stay quiet." Ryan's confident image completely shattered. No charm, no clever response, nothing, just panic. Raw panic. Then the CEO stood up and asked the question Ryan feared most. Ryan opened his mouth, closed it again, and said nothing, because he couldn't. Ryan was suspended the next morning. 2 weeks later, he quietly resigned before the company officially terminated him. Most people stopped talking to him completely. Turns out, once someone loses credibility, all that fake charisma disappears fast. As for me, I got the promotion. But honestly, that wasn't the most satisfying part. The real satisfaction came months later. I was sitting in my new office when I got a message request from Ryan. Just 3 words. "I'm sorry, man." I stared at it for a long time, then deleted it. No response. Because some betrayals don't deserve closure, and some people only apologize after losing everything they thought they controlled. Ryan didn't regret hurting me. He regretted getting exposed. There's a difference. And honestly, learning that difference changed my life forever. Sometimes revenge isn't destroying someone. Sometimes it's simply telling the truth in a room full of people who finally listen.